Hello, we are here at Momentous 2016 and gold has had a phenomenal year, and right now we're going to talk about Kolar Gold just here with Parry, who joins me here. Hello to you.
Hello, Katie.
So just very briefly explain what your company is all about. It is, as I know, Indian exploration, isn't it?
Yeah, Kolar Gold is an Indian facing exploration and mining company, primarily focused on gold. The hints in the name there. Recently it's been revitalised by a placing of funds and a change in management. So I'm now CEO and have been for the last 2 months, and there's a new executive director involved as well. So we've got a new management team. We've got a new following, if you like. There's a new shareholder base that's augmented the existing base that was there. We're looking to expand the scope of the company to also go into because the Indian market is so fast growing and so vast, basically, we're looking into complementary opportunities that relate to fintech that can also be complementary to gold, effectively what we're doing on the ground there in exploration and mining. The other thing that we're expanding with is to look at bringing in a subsidiary that will be an operating company for gold production in a different jurisdiction.
Okay, and sorry, can you develop that? What do you mean by that?
We can definitely develop the project, but because we haven't finalised the signing of the agreement that we're imminently about to, then I can't really speak about it yet. All I can describe is more in vague terms that we're actually having this, there'll be this three-pronged strategy that we're rolling out now in Kolar Gold.
Okay, so that's what's coming up next?
Yes.
That's next on the radar?
Yeah, so we arrived and it was in some financial, it needed an injection of finance as well as management and business impetus. We provided that. The first month or two was about correcting or improving operational efficiencies and reducing redundant structures and things that weren't really appropriate as far as costs go for a company of this size, as a microcap AIM-listed company. And at the same time, we have been concurrently building these business opportunities, so these other areas that we can go into that complement the asset base that already exists in our operations in India.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of finances, profits, revenues, how are you doing right now? How healthy are you?
As an exploration and mining company, you generally don't have turnover. Like most of the money that comes in goes into the ground, trying to, pardon the pun, but discover a gold mine. Mm-hmm. Our most advanced project is now at the economic feasibility stage, and that's fully funded by one of our shareholders in our subsidiary called GMI Saw that we own a little over 20% of. One of the other shareholders has put in the money to fully fund that through to completion of the economic feasibility study. And depending on the results of that, we will then proceed to build a mine at that site.
Mm-hmm. And what about the Indian government as well? Because they're very much involved, aren't they, with gold production? Does that impact you?
They're not so big with gold production. I mean, mining in India is not as is not mature as it should be. Mm-hmm. And over the next 20 years, I think we'll see a real transformation in India, and a lot of if the stock market changes its rules to adjust for exploration companies, because they generally don't have cash flow, but it doesn't make them investable or attractive propositions for people to put money into. So you need to have different listing rules for that, and they don't actually have that on the Bombay Stock Exchange yet. The Bombay Stock Exchange is a very mature market. It's the oldest stock exchange in Asia, and it has an aggregate market cap of all the companies listed there of about 1.7 trillion. So it's obviously not a backwater or anything, and as all of us know, India is one of the biggest markets in the world. Mm-hmm. But as far as mining goes, they haven't really developed it. You know, there's only one other company that's in mining exploration that's actually listed there, and that's been a listing that's been there for a long time. So as the market, as they open up from that side of things, and with the mining legislation, how they use it in India, then you will find a landscape that's very much brought up to a global standard for mining, and such as you find in Australia or Canada or some of these places. Mm-hmm. And then I believe that'll create a lot of wealth in India. It'll transform a whole new middle class, which will only make further growth around things like expanding agriculture as well as consumables and all sorts of things. So as far as mining goes, and gold, for example, in India, they're a far bigger consumer of gold, India as a nation, than they are as a producer. I mean, they produce about 2% of what they consume, and they're one of the world's biggest consumers, if not the biggest. One of the world's biggest.
Yeah, I think it's China.
So they're not. It's not mature yet in that way, and the question is, I suppose, is will that happen in 3 months or 3 years, or will this happen over the next 20 or 30 years? And to address that, you need to come up with business models that are a little bit layered, that can create not only seeing a company like Kolar survive, but actually thrive whilst it's playing its part, but not depending on how that landscape changes and then makes it extremely attractive for companies like ours. But of course, by being in there during that period of time, and for the historical time that Kolar's been in there, if we manage this correctly, we're right at the forefront of that. And indeed, our subsidiary company, Geomysore, that again we own a bit over 20% of, in India, is the largest exploration company in India. But some of that has to do with the fact that it's difficult to get into. But once you're in, and if you understand how the landscape, and if you're with partners that have been there a long time, like 10, 20 years, then the opportunities become very apparent if you're that way minded, I suppose, as a business operator like I am.
Okay, if someone's considering investing in your company right now, how can you inspire them to do that? What would you say to that person? Why would they want to do that?
Well, fundamentally, it's a very good investment at the moment. Its market cap is at £3 million. It's actually just recently gone up to that from 2 million post the placing that we did and the change in management. On our balance sheet, our 20+% of Geomysore, which has recently been validated by this other investment, is worth £3.3 million. The market knows that we have around £1 million in cash. So £4.3 million as far as the fundamental value versus the 3 million market cap. But it does have new impetus now. It's got management with a track record of success in this space. We also have a track record or knowledge and experience in fintech as well. So we're kind of in what could be the perfect time, a little bit of a perfect storm, the perfect time within India and getting exposure to the Indian market, particularly in gold, being based here in London, as Kolar is on the market here. The market is aware that we are actually adding these other 2 dimensions to the business, and they are tremendously exciting. I can't talk too much about those until they're done, and then I can discuss some more detail. They are imminent. I was hoping one of them would have been done that we could have announced possibly today, and then I could have discussed some of that detail. So it's got a lot of potential upside. It's got a lot of fundamental upside already. And the market's starting to wake up to it, actually. As I say, we've been there 2 months. They're starting to wake up that actually there's a lot of inherent value here, even at a fundamental level.
All right, Cameron Parry, thank you very much indeed.
Thanks,
we
Katie.
were talking about Kolar Gold today.